You used to just be able to punch in 35 to go to ESPN. I'm going to punch in 29 to go to TNT. There were numbers on the remote. Can't do that anymore. You got to scroll through a million channels. It's just like, what are we doing? How hard would it be to put some numbers?
The tennis fundamentals, the serve, the volley, and the smash.
This month we are doing tennis.
What better way to take advantage of the great weather than with a game of tennis?
I've no chance in the match. He's the number one in the world and I'm playing with the metal hit.
Is your New Year's resolution punctuality? Because you've really been right in the studio immediately.
I think that's more of just a function of I have nothing better to do. I got no other commitments, no responsibilities.
Hey, schedule free and clear for 2026. Do you have a New Year's resolution?
Not really. I don't think.
Good.
No,
Okay.
not really. What about you?
Keep the pedal down, keep the engine on. Yeah.
That's right. Just one day at a time.
I want it to be our biggest year of podcasting ever, for sure. Welcome to Nice Point Podcast listeners. This is the Australian Open preview episode, so really huge. Getting into the season very fast here. As soon as that calendar turns, it's go, go, go. In fact, the matches have already started. We'll talk about it. We're recording here on Sunday. We'll release this episode on Martin Luther King Monday that a lot of people have off, so hopefully people have a chance to stay up and watch matches tonight. Check them out in the morning tomorrow. It's the Australian Open preview episode. I wanted it to be, as I said, the biggest year ever, and I'm taking it super seriously. So I got the Nice Point Podcast shirt on, and Joe, I picked up a couple Fosters for the recording.
Oh, hey, Australian for beer. Love it. Oh, man.
So we'll see if there's some Foster's presence. On the telecast, we'll see if the Fosters are being poured, or maybe they have a sponsorship. We love the booze sponsorships at tennis, part of keeping the economic engine going.
Right. Remember,
start-
sink piss is the Australian slang term for drinking beer.
Got to sink some pit. And you know what? It doesn't even sound natural coming out of my mouth. Can you try that?
Sink some piss. Love it.
We say you and me get the episode done with and head out and sink piss, huh?
That sounds hilarious.
I'll start with, I kind of alluded to it already in just the calendar year, the January month, week of the Australian Open, date and time. I'm talking about how the globe spins around and goes around the sun and how to watch the Australian Open. So it is the one tournament that starts on a Sun. So not only is it already early in the year and we're kind of just like barely catching up to what's going on in the season, but it starts on a Sunday. All the other ones start on Monday. Add to that the fact that it's in Australia. So the way that you watch this, Joe, as a reminder to anybody who wants to watch this year, you will catch the very first matches of the day in Australia in the evening. So if you turn on your TV at maybe you'll get one at 6 or 7. Maybe you don't have to wait all the way till 9. Let me see what it says if I want to watch it today. What the times are looking like. And then there will be basically matches all night for, let's say, me here in New York or you in Des Moines if you're in the United States. And then if you wake up, you can catch the ends of the primetime matches. So probably in these early rounds, the main stars that you want to see, you maybe wake up and watch them.
Right, exactly. Yeah, or you can just pull an all-nighter, baby.
Hey, depending on some of these matchups that we're going to talk about, might be worthwhile. I was going to ask you, have you watched anything yet?
I did catch a little bit of Zverev Diallo late last night.
Good for you.
Yeah. I wasn't watching it too closely. We were at a bar and they had it on the TV there, so I was watching without sound a little bit.
Good for the bar. I've got matches, starting at 7 o'clock here. So, hey, stay up, drink a couple Fosters with me, Well, everybody's listening to this tomorrow anyway. Maybe I'll just drop it tonight. But I hope people got a chance to enjoy some of the MLK weird timing Australia crossover of kicking off tennis first slam of the year here. Are you pumped?
One of my favorite events of the year, Australian Open, the Happy Slam, baby. I'm looking forward to it for sure.
I was famously there last year, famously in our household. That was part of my wife and I's honeymoon. So I wonder how much we'll put it on TV and do some reminiscing and nostalgia. I'm excited to get into it. Joe, do you have anything you want to do for warm-up rally today before we do Australian Open 2026?
So the only thing I had was, did you catch any of the Australian Open 1-point slam?
This is the exact only thing I had as well.
Incredible. So you played in like something similar to this in like recreationally in New York, right?
Thank you for mentioning and remembering. Yeah, we had a 1-point tournament in my park here in Fort Greene. It's really funny because you really just play 1 point to advance or be eliminated from the tournament. And it's funny because you put your shoes on, you have a match time, you stretch, you go shake hands and do like decide who's going to serve or whatever, and then it's over. And for me, it was over in my 1 point. I did not advance past the first round. I lost to a very intimidating Indian girl who didn't seem like there was much of a question to her that she was going to win that point in advance. It was pretty straightforward. But she served and I
Excellent.
did return. So we had an exchange. I felt good about that. But nobody cares about any of that. They care about maybe they care about the 1-point slam in Australia at the Open. Joe, do you care about the 1-point slam?
I found it fascinating. It's funny you mentioned that because I watched like the final point, and it's like a 7-minute video, and of course like it's all like the build up and like the interview after, and the point takes
Right.
like it's like for 5 seconds. I mean, the final point was it was a serve, a return, and then the third hit was just like a wayward shot that went out, and that was it. So like it's over in less than a couple seconds.
Besides how goofy it is, maybe the listeners need an introduction into why we're talking about this. The slam tournaments, year in and year out, have to find more creative ways to sell early. They try not only the first week tickets, but even trying to stretch ticket selling into the qualifying week. So we had this crazy mixed doubles featuring a lot of the stars at the U.S. Open. It was the first time they had done something like that to try and get 3 weeks of ticket sales out of people instead of just 2. Seems like the Australian Open, because this took place on Wednesday. I think it all took place in one day on Wednesday, so that if you're playing in the 1-point slam, you're beginning it and winning it all in that same day. Just another way to get people on the grounds and get people excited and chattering about tennis. Again, a lot of the stars featured, but also amateurs. So the Australian Open introducing this as sort of a funky, fun fan week -1 before the real tournament kicks off. Alcaraz in there, Maria Sakkari, Zverev, Bublik, Sinner, but also amateurs. Joe, what do you think about the amateurs participating?
I thought it was awesome. I was going to ask you, I don't know, I'm sure they had to win some kind of qualifying type tournament or something to be a part of this, the amateurs, but yeah, I thought it was fascinating. It's a huge win so the winner, Jordan Smith of Castle Hill Tennis Club, an amateur, won this. And he knocked off Carreño Busta, Sinner, and Anisimova on his way to the finals. And his opponent in the finals
Big
was Joanna Garland, who's ranked 117 right now. She's from Taiwan, I believe. And
Okay.
she is a pro. And she beats Zverev, Kyrgios, Sakkari, and Donna Vekic on her way to the finals. So it's just like,
Tight.
yeah, it's just some crazy like wins in this thing. And Jordan Smith, taking home $1 million Australian dollars, newest millionaire in Australia.
Congratulations to Jordan on that. Good call, Joe. I watched some of these videos as well. Jordan Smith was sort of listed as New South Wales state champion. So my question, I didn't do further research on the questions I have here because I it's fun and cool, but I don't really care about the 1 point slam. But so Australia's divided into like 6 or 7 Australia is obviously massive, and it only has like these 6 or 7 regions, like Queensland, New South Wales, Victoria, maybe.
Right.
And so is he a New South Wales state champ or the? Do you think? Do you think he won from that whole region the championship? That would be pretty imposing. And I don't know why they even are using the word state. All things I could look into, but I'm not going to.
I guess I'm not sure if he's like the only amateur from New South Wales or if there are others. Yeah, I don't know, but just a huge week for him and his family, though.
Yeah, pretty exciting.
Life changing.
I mean, Joe, what do you think he's up to this weekend? I think there's only 2 words to describe it.
He's sinking some piss, maybe.
He must be.
He did say he was going to spend the money. He was going to buy a house for him and his girlfriend. So this guy
so
already got
sweet.
plans. Yeah.
Hey. My other main question, as long as we're doing 1 point slam and have to talk about it on the podcast for a couple of moments, I do, if they're going to include like amateurs and this guy to have his crazy like dream moment, it felt kind of weird to me. Obviously, they want to get as many of the big stars as possible. That's what's going to sell tickets. But it feels weird to have like Alcaraz versus amateur. Wouldn't it be fun if it was kind of a mixed bag of like maybe some of the older stars who aren't as good anymore, maybe some of the like up and coming middle players who like are fan favorites, but this could be a sort of legitimate chance for them to show off. And then I don't know how they came up with the list of people that played, or I couldn't even actually find a draw. I don't know if you found that.
I didn't know. Huh. I was thinking like say like what if Alcaraz beat an amateur in the final? Like that would just feel so weird. Like, Alcaraz is making millions and millions of dollars already, and then he wins like the prize.
He gets 1 million.
And like this amateur who like, for him would have been, life changing. He doesn't get anything. That would have felt very strange. So I am glad like an amateur won it. But yeah, that's a good point though.
There's a creative way to keep Sinner and Alcaraz out because, yes, they're the stars. But Venus Williams is a star. That would kind of be someone fun to put in there. Nick Kyrgios is not playing singles in the tournament this year. Put him in there. I don't know. Put Andre Agassi in there. Like you could still get stars who aren't going to also be like the most dominant tennis player on the face of the earth. And you could, you know what? Frankly, you could also have Alcaraz come out there and be the umpire if you really needed to.
That would be interesting, yeah.
Or the ball boy or something.
That would be wild.
Or the coaches. We're going to talk coaches today a little bit. So we'll see if 1 point slam returns to, is it going to just be the Australian Open every year that we have this funny little conversation, or are other tournaments going to try it? We don't know. That's it on 1 point slam.
Hey, if the U.S. Open starts doing it, we got to win a state championship and compete, baby.
Yeah, let's get us in there. Hey, I'd love to see you in the final, pal.
That would be wild. I'm just buying nice point gear if I get that $1 million, dude.
Well,
just nice point T-shirts, nice point posters, $1 million worth of them.
How about if you spend half of it, $500K or so, on a deal with one of the players? You think we could get Flavio Caboli wearing Nice Point as his brand? Someone ranked in the 40s or something like that.
I love that. Yeah, just warm up in a Nice Point T-shirt. That'd be fantastic.
Be sick. Maybe one men's, one women's player. We're trying to have a good diverse listenership. Joe, I want to welcome you back to the Pentazone with me.
My favorite zone to be in.
Yeah, it's a good one, and it's a completely statistical one. If we follow the Pentazone, we should be able to know a lot about who's supposed to win these tournaments, and this Pentazone is a very tilty one in certain directions. But so it's even more revealing than usual. Why don't we do the today we're gonna do men and then women because we did opposite last episode. So I don't have much to tell you about this Pentazone, or as they call it in Italy, the country of Yannick Sinner, the Pentazone. So here's how this works. The number one player in the world, that's slice number one. That's Carlos Alcaraz. The favorite to win the tournament, that's slice number two. That's Yannick Sinner. The most recent winner of a slam, that's Carlos Alcaraz, beating Yannick Sinner at the U.S. Open. The most recent winner of this tournament, the Australian Open, that's Yannick Sinner. He beat not Alcaraz, but Alexander Zverev. And then the final slice of the Pentazone, that it's you can kind of make a call on what this slice is made up of. It's the most recent tournament indicator on this surface. So if we look at the WTA finals back in like December, it is sort of leaning the 3 out of the 5 his way. Sinner over Alcaraz at the WTA finals. If you wanted to look at Brisbane as the final slice, a little bit more recent, which takes place right before the Australian Slam in Melbourne, you've got Daniil Medvedev beating Brandon Nakashima. So some different names in there. Sinner and Alcaraz didn't even play in that tournament. Not a lot of guys did, but half a credit of the Pentazone to Medvedev.
Right. And I think Mensik just won in Auckland, New Zealand the other day, and I believe Mahatch won in Adelaide the other day as well. So those were the three.
Good toss-ins.
Yeah, those are for that last slice of the Pentazone there. So yeah, like you said, I believe this is Sinner and Alcaraz. This is their first competitive tournament they played in 2026. So they didn't play in any of those kind of warm-up tournaments. I think they did some like exhibition match type stuff, but this will be the first competitive match for both of them.
We can presumably spend most of the middle point episode talking about Sinner and Alcaraz, and it's kind of where all these tournaments lead now. Do you want to talk at all about Alcaraz's coaching?
So yeah, for sure. So I believe, just parted ways in December with longtime coach Juan Carlos Ferrero. So who is his new coach now? I guess I haven't heard.
Yeah, I checked this out. It's Samuel Lopez. It's a guy that was on the team already. So, and I even saw him listed in one piece as the interim head coach. So it's sort of like he's parting ways with Ferrero. So one of the guys that's already there is going to fill in maybe for now.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah, that's always something to look at, switching coaches before a huge tournament. I don't know. That could go several different ways there. But yeah.
And the coaching, since we've started this podcast just a few years ago, has become a much more major element of tennis. At this point, they're on the court, right?
Right. Yeah, you can talk to them now, give some advice, give some pointers. Which, like, I don't know. To me, it just seems like why weren't they able to do that before, anyways? But it seems like a no-brainer. But yeah, it's definitely coaching's seems like a much bigger deal now than it has in the past.
I mean, Samuel Lopez, or Samu, as I saw him also, as I saw Carlos refer to him, he's got to have a tight. I mean, like, when it comes down to like the barely great of a percent between Sinner and Alcaraz when they play in this final. Again, we can talk about this stuff in the second week if it does end up being the final. He's got to have. I mean, he's got to have a tactician strategy. At this point, they're playing in every final. They're studying each other's games. They're probably obsessed with just finding some edge to get out of these slam finals, the winner against each other. That's a lot on Lopez. I mean, he's gonna be a big part of that.
Yeah, for sure. And like you said, I mean, the margin's razor thin between these two. You got to find an edge anywhere you can get it. You know, I don't know if Lopez is going to be just breaking down Sinner film till 4 a.m. every night, trying to find some little hole he can find. But yeah, that's a good point though. It's going to come down to strategy, some tactician type stuff. So yeah, we'll see. We'll see if both of them get to the finals though.
We shall see. I'll see if you think anything different. The Pentazone certainly doesn't really indicate that. I'll be watching. I'll be rooting for Lopez, and I'll be watching a lot of the communication of how much Alcaraz is leaning into that and looking for advice and yelling when he gets frustrated or whatever it might be. Be it one of the interesting things to watch in this tournament. Let's do the women's Pentazone. It's similarly pointing us in one direction. But the Pentazone doesn't just try to help us point out the winners of the tournament. It points to some heat on other players who could maybe make a run.
Right.
Keep that in mind.
Right.
Joe and
Right.
listeners. Okay. Number 1 in the world, that's Aryna Sabalenka. She is also slice number 2. She's the favorite to win the tournament. We base this on ESPN DraftKings because that's the app that I use for betting sometimes. Not that much. The most recent Grand Slam winner at the U.S. Open 2025 in New York City, that was Aryna Sabalenka. She beat Amanda Anisimova. The most recent winner of the Australian Open was not Sabalenka. She lost last year to Madison Keys. How fun and cool was that? And then, Joe, I hope you also pulled those other Australian tournaments because I similarly just looked at Brisbane, which I think is I was thinking of as kind of the main one.
Right.
And guess who won Brisbane? It was Aryna Sabalenka.
Wow.
She beat Marta Kostyuk in the final. Marta Kostyuk actually is already hurt and out of this Australian Open. I'm sorry to report, even though we're just kicking it off. So a lot of Sabalenka here. The WTA finals, it was actually Elena Rybakina beating Sabalenka.
Wow.
So
That's huge.
something. It is huge. It's huge. It's at least a glimmer of something different. Who do you have? Adelaide and Auckland.
So I think the Adelaide winner was Mira Andreeva. So yeah,
Interesting.
That just ended a couple days ago, and I think it doesn't look like Auckland for the women. It looks like the other one was Hobart, and that was Elisabetta Cocheretto.
Okay. You're you nailed that pronunciation because that's
You like that?
you're saying Elizabeth, but you're saying it in Italian.
Elisabetta, yeah.
Elisabetta. Elisabetta, why in the Pentazone? Joe, anything else that you're reading into in the Pentazone here before we go to the ad break?
That's a good question. I don't think I do have anything else. I might surprise you with when we get to making our picks later. I might have a surprise for you on the women's side.
I think you don't.
Okay.
I think I know what you're going to say. Joe, today, besides Foster's, Nice Point podcast is brought to you by Bebops.
Wow. A Des Moines staple. Wow.
Yeah,
that just blew my mind that you said that. That's so in my that's only like a Des Moines area chain, right? There's no Bebops in the Toledo area. Okay.
Yeah, it's just Des Moines, but someone brought it up to me, believe it or not, in the course of since recording last week to today, and I tucked it away just to say to you right now.
Oh man, that's you haven't lived till you've had a Bebop's chocolate shake, man. That's something. Wow, that just
There
blew
you
me
have it.
away.
And I don't think I have, because I've been through town. I've been welcomed into the Des Moines community, but I don't specifically remember Bebops.
Oh man, just one of the best burgers in town. I think they put mayo on their burgers. I believe it makes it incredible.
I think that's a good idea. I like mayo. Sophia says white people like white sauces. I find this to be really true. I love every white sauce.
Ranch. Had some
an
ranch last
aioli, a
night.
ranch. Yeah. Did you?
I had chicken wings with ranch last night. Which I think mayo and ranch are the same thing, right? Ranch is just mayo with some spices and herbs in it. I thought that was true.
We unfortunately don't have time to unpack that take. Quickly, we might have time for where does Bebop stand in relation to like Culver's?
So Bebop's, I would say, is a bigger burger. I mean, I like Bebop's better than Culver's, I think, and I love Culver's too. Yeah, It's a very, very different kind of burger, Bebops and Culver's, I would say.
Okay, well then the last thing thank you for that insight. The last thing I will say at the ad break here, which we advertise ourselves in mostly, is I want to invite fans. We're here at the Australian Open kickoff episode. It's going to be 2 weeks of tennis. It's going to be so much fun. It's going to be so cool. And if you're listening, now you get to enjoy 2 weeks of tennis too, because we're going to tell you the men's and women's drama, characters, and we're gonna tell you who's in the draw. We're gonna do men's and then women's in the rest of this episode. And I want to invite specifically to our listenership and to the obsession of tennis, Kansas City Chiefs fans, Philadelphia Eagles fans. I want to invite. I'm sorry, I really am, to Buffalo Bills fans. I was rooting for you guys. I saw that Haley Steinfeld is pregnant. I think Josh Allen's cool. I want to invite my brother's girlfriend, Justine, a 49ers fan. I want to invite disappointed NFL fans to shake it off. It's still winter, and you still want to have something to watch on TV. You have Australian Open every single night, baby, and every single morning, and we can get you into it. We can put a big old, maybe not a Band-Aid, but almost like we can be like the girl you got too drunk with after getting out of your long-term relationship that you take really seriously, to just forget about it for 2 weeks.
Okay.
That's you and me.
All you sad NFL fans, join the club, join the pod.
So thanks for listening. Go find it on TikTok. We're going to do a Substack as well. I'm just going to try to keep the updates on what matches are worth watching coming in a lot of different formats as much as possible. Joe, we're going to talk about from day 2 about to start in 3 hours in Australia from us recording this right now. If you're listening to it, we could be in round somewhere in, day 3 and 4, which is round 2. We could be somewhere in days 5 and 6, which is round 3. We're going to talk about some hypothetical matches, some of the players that we're going to look for. I'll re-update this on social media throughout the week, but our outlook right now, from the beginning, asterisk because some of the matches have already been played, as I discussed at the beginning of the podcast, at the beginning of the draw. That's what we're about to talk about. We're going to do the men first. Joe, go wherever with the men.
Right off the bat, something that caught my eye, I thought a sneaky tough draw for Ben Shelton. Ben, I believe, is the 8th seed. Yeah. I think I just saw it and I was like, that's kind of tough. So I believe Ben's the 8th seed. He's obviously going to play an unseeded player in the first round. He gets Ugo Humbert, who's ranked 36. So that's a pretty bad luck. So the seeds go up to 32. So, if you're playing an unseeded player and you have to play 36, that's a tough draw. That's not good for Ben. Although Ben should be fine in that match, but just a little bit of an unlucky draw there.
And is it that the top? Is it 8 players or 16 are placed specifically into? It's 8, right?
I believe so. Yeah.
Like the top 8 players sit exactly in an organized way, like how it works in March Madness, right? Like your ranking 1 through 8 determines exactly where you slot in. Everybody else is random. So that means that's what you're pointing out, is that if you end up with a seeded player right next to you like that, that's kind of a rip.
Right, and if Ben's able to win that first round match, he could face Gael Monfils in the second round, which is just super tough guy to play against. A veteran, he's got all the tricks in the book, just very, very tough guy to play against. So that's a tough first couple matches for Ben.
Okay, I had a more positive read on all of this than you.
Okay.
So let's flash back to where we left with Ben Shelton at the end of last season. He was threatening to grow into the type of player that could beat an Alcaraz or a Sinner. He's been getting better and better over the past 2 or 3 only years that he's played professional tennis. He really has just a lot of fire and confidence, which is really cool. He got hurt playing in the U.S. Open, so he didn't even really get to go out in a match that was at his level, or he didn't run all the way into the end of his maybe like capabilities or potential in that U.S. Open, which is a huge bummer. So I wonder if like I hope that he comes into this tournament with a bunch of refreshed energy and could pick up right where he left off. I think he has to cruise through like an Humbert and a Monfils. I hope he's able to. I mean, I'm not saying that it's easy, but I hope so. I was just gonna say that you're kind of worried about it for the love of Shelton. I think Shelton and Monfils is like, if you want to have a smile on your face while watching tennis, that is a match to choose.
That is for sure. That'll be a super entertaining match. Yeah. I just think that's a little bit of an unlucky first couple matches there for Ben. But like you said, he should win those. Should be fine, but tough draw in my opinion.
Okay, we'll watch that one together. Yeah, I mean, two entertainers,
Yeah.
two crowd favorites, two guys that get a lot of emotion on their face when they play. So you don't have to do much work to know how things are going. If you're watching in the background, that'll be a really fun one.
Yep.
Hopefully, we're both right.
Right, exactly.
Okay, on the men's side, I wanted to start by a little celebrating New York City a little bit here. Okay, because who's already through the first round? Another young man, Michael Zhang. Are you familiar with Michael Zhang, Joe?
I am now. Yeah, I saw this. Yeah.
Our guy Michael Zhang from Columbia University here in New York
Wow.
City is where my brother-in-law went to school. It's an exciting sort of like linchpin of culture in New York. He's already through the first round. Here's the detail that I was vaguely aware of, but I wanted to get exactly right for the pod here. In November 2024, he beat a guy from Michigan State to become the first NCAA singles champion from Columbia since, Joe, 1906.
Wow.
So what is that, 120 years ago?
Wow.
He's the first champion from any Ivy League school since 1922. The pride of the Ivy League is Michael Zhang.
That's
He
shocking.
wins
to
it
me.
again, back to back, Joe. Don't be shocked because he wins it yet again. No surprise there. Beating a player named Trevor Svajda from Southern Methodist University down in Texas, kind of a moneyed school down in Texas. He wins. He's the first back-to-back NCAA champion since Stevie Johnson, a sort of American
Right.
great NCAA tennis player who was on the tour for a little bit as well. So, love Michael Zhang. Love all of this.
Yeah, that's interesting. And he knocked off fellow American Seb Korda in the first round, 5-setter. Korda came in ranked 51. Obviously, yeah, he's obviously Korda's been, a top 30 guy. He's at 51 now. Zhang is at 174. So massive upset there for Zhang in the first round.
Great start to the career. One little other tidbit that I thought was fun about this. So as I just said, he beat Trevor Svajda. It's a foreign-sounding name, the guy from Southern Methodist, but he plays for the United States. Trevor Svajda. Trevor is the brother of another player on tour who was actually in the same corner of the bracket. I think he ended up losing in the first round, but tennis is a small world when you get this good.
It is, that's for sure. And, at these big tournaments, we're going to see a lot of upsets. So there'll definitely be a lot more.
Again, with the timing of everything, I don't know who's going to get a chance to watch this based on listening to this, but Michael Zhang and Quarantine Matet, really fun second round match.
Oh,
So
love
see
that.
if people can tune into that one, isn't it? Yeah.
Good pull.
What else you got?
I have a second round match. Two Italian players could meet in the second round. Lorenzo Sonego, who's unseeded, and Musetti, who's the number 5 seed. Obviously, great player. I think that would be a heck of a round 2 match. Watch out for Sonego pulling the upset in that one. Depending on what the game spread's looking like on that, I could be some betting value on Sonego there. So that one caught my eye.
Sonigo Games. Okay, I like it.
We'll see what the game spread is.
I had Mazzetti circled as well. He could face in round 3 Stefanos Tsitsipas. This is a matchup of both very high-level players whose careers have, maybe Mazzetti's has sort of escalated as Tsitsipas has gone in the other direction. But this is a flow god matchup. If you're interested in watching some beautiful men hair fly around while they're hitting the ball back and forth, I would check into round 3. Mazzetti and Tsitsipas if they get there.
Yeah, that would be a heck of a match for sure. We'll see what kind of form Tsitsipas is in. Obviously, he's kind of fallen on hard times here the last 12 months or so. So down at, I believe it's the 31. Seeded at 31. So he's, been in the top 10, often in the top 5 for the last, 5+ years.
Yeah.
So big
Once upon a
fall
time,
for
yeah.
him. Yeah. All right. I had a few other potential round 3 matchups. Lehechka Fritz. Lehechka's the 17 seed. Fritz is the 9. I believe they could meet in the third round. Lehechka's a guy that always plays well in Melbourne. That's where he kind of burst onto the scene a couple years ago. I believe he made it to like the 4th round, maybe even the quarters in one of maybe his first appearance at the Australian Open. So he's a guy that always plays well down under. Fritz, obviously one of our favorite players, American player.
Yep.
That will be that'd be a great match. I feel like that would be a 4 or 5 setter for sure. So I'm looking forward to that one.
That's actually a great one. I can't believe I didn't catch that one. While we're talking Americans round 3, I have serve bot Riley Opelka. He according to him, he can win any match. He can be on anybody's level, but he can also lose any match if he's not in form. He can beat anybody. He can lose to anybody. If he gets to round 3 and does beat 2 people, he could play Tommy Paul. If you're just a fan of USTA American guy tennis, it doesn't get much more American guy than those two, but probably great friends. The types of guys you can imagine at your barbecue. Just sort of some good old boys in round 3 there potentially. Tommy Paul's got to come away with that one if he wants to keep being legit, but could be fun.
Yeah,
USA 250, Joe.
That's right. That's right. I believe they are very good friends. I think during COVID, they lived together in like a big house in Florida, and I remember like watching. They like played. They had like a tennis court in their backyard, and they like Tennis Channel televised just like an exhibition game between the two of them because there was no sports on TV back in 2020 during COVID, and I watched it. It was like the first like live sporting event I'd seen in months. Opelka and Tommy Paul pickup game.
Rematch of that. That sounds super cool. I think Taylor Fritz also seems really cool. I would want to party with him as well, but I have a little bit harder time picturing him drinking a beer. I can picture Opelka and Paul drinking like 10 beers.
Fritz is he's a vodka soda guy.
I could see it.
Oh man, I had a couple other round 3 matchups. So
Okay.
I believe if I'm reading the bracket correctly, Fonseca Sinner potentially in the 3rd round. Fonseca
I had this as
obviously,
well.
yeah, obviously the up and coming type of player. A lot of people think he's going to be a future top 5 caliber player, Fonseca.
Yeah.
So that will be a very fun match if that ends up happening.
Guess what Fonseca's record is against combined Alcaraz and Sinner?
1-1.
0-0. We haven't seen this yet, Joe.
Wow. Okay, Fonseca's first matchup against one of the big 2, or
You're
we're calling
really
him
going to want to be there.
right. Are we calling him the current 2 now, not the new 2?
I've heard Sincaraz, which isn't great.
Sincaraz. Yeah. That's we are gonna want to be there. That'll be must see TV.
Introduction to a new, very important narrative in tennis. I guess while we're talking about the very, very top tier here, somebody that got a nightmare draw. Somebody always ends up with a nightmare draw, and you said Shelton's looks a little tough to you. I wasn't the first. I listened to some other podcasters. Fuck those guys. Say that it was Zverev, and I can confirm that Zverev. You said you watched him at the bar last night, Where'd you catch? Where are they playing tennis on TV in Des Moines? I appreciate this, especially with the Bills game going late. Sorry, Bills fans, come watch tennis with us.
It was a GT, short for Gran Turismo, kind of like a race
Yeah.
car themed bar.
And we love an international sport. So as you said, you saw that Zverev cleanly got past Gabriel Diallo, a really really tall
Yeah.
Canadian dude. So already through a tough first round. Alexei Papirin he could face in the
Yeah.
second, who's beaten a lot of good players, and then just who's become this sort of middle class of stalwart spoilers, like who will never win a slam but is just very good and believes in themselves, is Cam Norrie in the third round.
Right, right. That's a good pull. Yeah, and that
Oh,
Papirin in the second round on home soil, he's going to have the crowd behind him. That could be a tough match
good
for
call.
Zverev.
Yes,
Yeah,
I
that's
should have mentioned that, the Australian.
yeah, that's a good pull there.
I have a couple of key Australians to call out in the women's draw when we get there. I have two more men's notes. What do you have?
I've got one more on the men's side.
Okay, I'll do one then, and we'll go alternate. I just have we could see in round 4. We talked about Fonseca Sinner. How about this potential passing of the torch opportunity between Jacob Mensik and Novak Djokovic, who we haven't mentioned yet on the podcast until right now.
Right, and Mensik is coming off I believe, the Auckland victory there, so he's playing well right now. Wow, yeah, Mensik's, been talked about as another guy along with Fonseca, kind of the young and up and coming player that, could challenge to be top 5 behind Sinner and Alcaraz. So that's a good call there.
Should we take 1 second here to talk about Djokovic? So basically, we're like, there's no way anybody is winning this except for Alcaraz and Sinner. It's kind of people's mindset. Go back like 2 years, and the Australian Open in particular was Djokovic's tournament. Now I think he's almost escalated beyond that narrative to just like maybe he's the greatest player of all time. Maybe he's the player that's done everything in tennis. Once he won the gold medal, which he beat Alcaraz, once he got past a certain number of slams. Is it that he is now tied? Is he tied with Margaret Court now? Is that what it is?
Right, I believe so. Yeah, 24.
So yeah, there's the thing about like he beat the game of tennis like as if it's a video game. He did literally every level. But at one point he was kind of associated with, he's won the most Australian Opens of anything that he's won. And at one point you could kind of divide it between like Federer's the Wimbledon guy, Nadal is the French guy, and when it comes to the Australian it's all Novak's. Should we talk about this at all? Is there any he's playing. He's in the top 5 seats.
And according to DraftKings, he's got the third best odds behind Sincaraz to win this. Djokovic does.
But I was just pulling that up. How
This is
how
crazy.
long are those odds?
Yeah, so this is this is just nuts, and this goes to show like how much, if anyone other than Sinner or Alcaraz wins this, it'll be just a huge upset. So Sinner as the best odds, he's at minus 120, then Alcaraz at plus 165. Huge jump. The third best odds, Djokovic plus 1600, which is just a crazy jump from 2 to 3 there. So DraftKings is with us, as well as most of the tennis world. We will all be shocked if anyone not named Sinner or Alcaraz win this tournament.
Djokovic beat Carlos Alcaraz at this tournament last year.
That's right. Alcaraz has never been past the quarterfinals here in Melbourne. He needs this to complete the career slam. Yeah, this is his worst. He's had his worst showings in slams here in Melbourne. So, yeah, that's something to watch for Alcaraz. Never even been to the semis.
Well, we've talked about it before, as I think you illuminated this theory to me, that just like we're kind of reacting to coming out of the holidays, and all of a sudden the Australian Open has started, and we're doing the podcast, and already some of the matches have happened. We're like, whoa. You pointed out that the reason you think Novak Djokovic won so many of them is that he's super disciplined, and he's not spending that brief off season that tennis players got, like blowing off steam and gaining 2.5 ounces that he shouldn't gain. Like, he's staying on his game, and that's why he's coming in top of his game. Maybe it's the same sort of Sinner type of narrative. Like, Sinner's very machine, and is Alcaraz more of the blow off steam guy who maybe comes in, fired his coach just a month ago, and as you said, maybe he's never getting very far because is he coming in a little bit unfocused and out of shape? Could be.
Could be, yeah. And now that for whatever reason that kind of partier label has been applied to Alcaraz. So yeah, I mean maybe it could be. We'll see. But he's got to be hungry to win it because he needs it to complete the career Grand Slam. Obviously he's just a great competitor. So we'll see. We'll see.
What's the last men's note you have?
I had potential third-round matchup between Francis Tiafoe, who's the 29 seed, and Alex de Minaur, who's the 6 seed. De Minaur played pretty darn well last year, had a nice 2025. Obviously, he'll be at home in front of his home crowd, but I could see that being those are two guys who, at least in my mind, are kind of at the same level, really, really good players. I guess Tiafoe's 29 now, but he's been up there in the top 15 before. So I think that could be a super fun match.
This is frankly exactly what I was talking about with Cam Norrie. Is that I think we might be sadly giving up on Tiafoe over winning a slam. Although at the U.S. Open, any American has a chance. But yeah, as you said, he's down to 29 at this point, but can beat Alex de Minaur and ruin his tournament on any day. That's
for sure. For sure, yep.
New household favorite. I talked about it in the first episode of the season. Felix Auger-Aliassime. Sophia and I will be watching closely. We had a good time with him at the U.S. Open. So he could face in round 4 Lerner Tien. I think the jury's out on Lerner Tien. Upstart, one of like half a dozen upstart American players, like below that top 4 guys. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of young kids that seem like they could have a lot of potential. Mickelson, Nakashima, Tien, Nishesh Basavareddy, right. Sophia and I saw in person last year. Lerner could make a statement here or not against Felix Auger-Aliassime. Medvedev, who I mentioned won in Brisbane,
right,
could face FAA in round 4. I feel like that's a great KPI, that stands for key performance indicator match. Medvedev and Felix, if they get there, both of those players, I feel like we're kind of in a position where we're like, should either of them be ranked way higher, or are they going to end this season actually ranked lower than they are right now? I couldn't call it.
Interesting. And I'm looking at the DraftKings odds to win. After Sinner and Alcaraz and Djokovic, 4th best odds to win, Daniil Medvedev, which is shocking to me.
Interesting.
Yeah, that seems strange. But yeah, I guess he's coming off that win in Brisbane, like you said, playing well. That's a good call there. FAA Medvedev round 4. Watch out for it.
God, that seems long. Would you take? I mean, in the crazy world of the 4 and 5 after. Who would you take after Sinner and Alcaraz? I mean, presuming you're going to pick one of those gentlemen as your pick, you're kind of the official picker for the podcast. Who would you put at odds for number 3 if you were DraftKings?
Man, that's a good question. I'd have to look at the bracket. I mean, I would probably go Zverev or Shelton.
Okay.
But I mean, if they would run into Sinner, or just the way the bracket's set up, if they would run into Sinner Alcaraz before the semis, I might go in a different direction. But I mean, as far as who I think is a good chance of winning this, yeah, Zverev or Shelton, I would put them at 3 probably.
I might add Fritz to the conversation. I wouldn't go against the Djokovic logic in a weird way ever.
That's true.
But
can't count him out.
But yeah, I certainly wouldn't have gone Medvedev.
Yeah, that's bizarre to me. But what do I know?
You're a pundit.
That's why I'm sitting on my couch here.
What are you doing this evening? Why did we have to do this on the early side?
So I just because I'm hoping to get up and getting up out of bed early tomorrow, so wanted to go to bed a little bit earlier.
Boy.
Yeah, I'm getting old, man. I'm getting boring.
It's 3:30 and it's 3:30 right now in Des Moines.
It is.
Are the Bears and Rams playing in Chicago or in Los Angeles?
It's in Chicago. I believe it was like under 10 degrees. I saw earlier today, so
Oh, wow.
should be a cold, chilly game. Very fun to watch.
That's awesome. Oh, what network do we have for that, by the way?
I think it's on NBC.
Okay, so I'm gonna go Peacock for that.
Gotcha.
Let's do the women, Joe. Because of the Sincaraz, we're gonna work through this year and try to find something better for that. Because of the Sincaraz of it all, the women's tournament's a little bit more fun, I gotta say.
Right. Yep.
Although the Pentazone pointed heavily at Arina Sabalenka. You know, and she has basically been in all of those finals.
Right.
Or like, when's the last time she wasn't at least in the semifinals? Never.
Right.
But you know what? There's just a little bit more of a window for a whole batch of other players. So let's see who's exciting in the women's draw here in some of these matchups. Let me just kick it off just for fun. The kind of thing that might happen over the course of this very week is that we might get to see in round 4 Naomi Osaka and Iga Swiatek play. Hoping for this match in round 4, manifesting.
I am as well. I had that down as well. That would be a great match. Naomi's the power player, hits the shit out of the ball type of player that gives Iga problems. So that's kind of Iga's kryptonite, is those power players. And Iga has not fared very well at the Australian Open either. So if that does happen, I think I would go with Osaka there to win. I think that'd be some really good betting value.
A draw that worked out. You're arguing nicely for Osaka to again, if you're going to end up with one of those top 3 or 4 seeds, maybe that's the one that she matches up with the best there.
Right. Yeah. Good take. For sure.
Although, was it last year's Australian Open where, sure enough, these two faced off, and it was really the first time we saw post motherhood Osaka make some noise and almost beat Iga, but didn't.
Right, I think that is correct. And then obviously Osaka started playing a lot better towards the end of last year in Canada and at the U.S. Open. Yeah, I think that's right though. Yeah, good pull.
I think that's what it was. Anybody who can fact check. Thank you for listening. What else you got?
So I thought a little bit of a kind of a tough draw for Andreeva, who, like we said, just won in Adelaide coming into this tournament, so she's playing well. But she gets unseeded Donna Vekic in round 1, which again similar to who did I mention on the men's side? The Shelton, who's playing.
Shelton.
Shelton had a tough unseeded player in round 1. Donna Vekic is unseeded. That's a kind of an unlucky draw for Andreeva. And then if she gets past Vekic, she could play Maria Sakkari in round 2, who's also unseeded and who seems to be playing a lot better of late. Sakkari has. So that's potentially 2 tough matches for Andreeva to start the tournament.
Look, Sakkari, someone that. Well, okay, first of all, let me say, Joe, I knew that this would happen as soon as the Australian Open kicked off. We're locked in because I had this exact same note. Tough draw for Andreeva. It could be Yastremska in round 3. Maria Sakkari, unseeded here. Someone who once was in like the top 10, 15. Here she's unseeded. But we have now been podcasting long enough to know that there are Felix Auger Aliassimes out here who return to the top 10.
Right.
They just get their game back.
Right.
Amanda Anisimova took full mental health time off and is up there above Coco in the rankings. So, yeah, tough for Andreeva. Although I was excited as a closet Andreeva fan to hear that she had won one of those tournaments in Australia, and she's feeling pretty good.
Right, exactly. But yeah, a little bit of an unlucky draw for our first couple rounds.
God, we're gonna be an Andreeva watch, which is so fun.
Yeah, for sure. Still just 18 years old, Andreeva. I saw that today. Couldn't believe it. I feel like we've been talking about her for 2 or 3 years.
So I had it also noted that Andreeva's tough draw, although I like to see her succeed, she's basically in the same quarter as Coco Gauff. Again, if I'm reading it right, it is nearly impossible because they are they're 3-8. So that would be the quarterfinal matchup is Andreeva and Coco. Maybe Coco doesn't have to deal with that. Although what Coco Gauff has to deal with in the second round, presuming she wins the first, which I don't think has happened yet, it was a potential matchup with Venus Williams, which I have to call funny business on. I think they didn't randomize the draw here, and I think they thought they would get a big ticket seller on day 2 there, or day 3 or 4 in the second round. Venus Williams did not beat Olga Danilovic, who was in like the 4th round last year at the Australian Open. So this is going to be that's actually that's tough on Coco there.
Right, yeah, that's a good point. And Venus, that was a 3-setter against Danilovic in the first round. Venus got a set there, so played pretty well.
Good for her. How old is Venus Williams at this point?
Boy,
They have like a podcast, like her and Serena have like a podcast. Venus is older than Serena, is she not?
Right, yep, that's right.
So funny.
Yeah,
Why do it?
yeah, I was happy to see she was had a wild card in this. She's 45. Wow,
That's insane.
that
I
is.
don't know why do it, but playing tennis at the Australian Open is also super fucking cool and fun. So
Yeah.
that's why.
That's true. Exactly.
Joe, did you catch up on cultural phenomenon of 2025 K-pop demon hunters?
I am out of the loop on K-pop Demon Hunters. I don't know if I've ever
You're
said
out
the
of the loop
words.
completely.
Yeah,
You don't even know. You
completely.
don't even know what that is.
I have never until now said the words K-pop Demon Hunters consecutively.
Well, I'll I'll explain to you, but I'll save our listeners the time. I mean, it was it's a cartoon, anime-esque Netflix movie about these K-pop pop stars who also like fight like evil demons.
Huh.
And it's a fun cartoonish vision of like goofy teen girls, you know, being badasses and beating up, like skeletons and doing karate and stuff. You know what I mean?
Gotcha. Yeah. Okay. Okay.
I think if you're a fan of K-pop Demon Hunters, which I guess my co-host is not, you might want to watch in round 3, Iva Jovic from the United States and Jasmine Paolini.
Okay.
Two like little tiny badass women. Iva Jovic is actually like I think still a teenager. Paolini not, but is like has the same characteristic of like being 5 feet tall. This is like little cartoon characters playing like really high level tennis. It could be a really cool round 3 match if you like K-pop Demon Hunters. That's what I think.
And I should mention, so Cocheretto won that tournament in Hobart. Her opponent in the finals,
Okay.
Iva Jovic. Or Iva
You sh-
Jovic. So how about that? It was a 6-4, 6-4 match too. So pretty darn close.
You should mention. I think in the Pentazone, some of those losers are valuable data as well. I really need someone to visualize the Pentazone to really to display how clear it is in my brain to everybody. But yeah, Jovic up to a seeded player in this tournament. She's been on my radar since in the U.S. Open. Like she had like a big upset in the first round, and the American crowd's behind her on one of those outside courts.
Right.
Plus, she looks like a K-pop demon hunter. But yeah, she's all the way up in the seeded players here now. So yeah, I'm a fan.
All right. So my next one that caught my eye, a round 3 potential matchup between our number 1 seed Sabalenka and Emma
Yes.
Raducanu. That would be nice. So these two met at Wimbledon this past year, and it was just a hell of a match. It was only a two-setter, but one of them was a tie-break, and one of them went 6-4. So it was a super close match. Obviously, Raducanu had the home crowd behind her at Wimbledon. Raducanu is probably a little bit better suited for maybe a better chance of her knocking off Sabalenka on grass rather than on hard court, but should still be a great match if that happens here in Melbourne.
Agree. I mean, a match among big stars, and oh, it does seem like is the Raducanu Sabalenka matchup that keeps fortuitously happening like one of those, like some rivalries in sports history, they go back and forth, and some don't. Some are like this is Charles Barkley and he never beat like who would have been like Michael Jordan era, right?
Michael, yeah,
Like,
yeah.
yeah, like some are the like I lost every time because I just was never as good as the person right above me.
Right.
Mozart and Salieri, it would probably be the one that would be most referential to you.
That's right. I always felt bad for Salieri. Yeah.
I had that one circled as well. Say Sabalenka makes it through that to round 4. She could see Victoria Mboko, breakout star from late last year in round 4. Another, just these are the stars of tennis. You're going to want to watch this. That probably Sabalenka comes away with, but cool matchups, 3 and 4.
Yeah. And I should mention Andreeva won the Adelaide tournament, and her opponent in the finals was Mboko. So Mboko's playing well coming in here.
Mboko lost to, who was that in Adelaide?
Andreeva.
Interesting. Wow. Good pickups on these other tournaments. I don't know why. I didn't realize it was so divided between the 3 precursors. I thought it was just Brisbane.
I think Brisbane ended like a week ago, and these other ones like literally just ended like a day or two ago. So I think you could play in both Brisbane and then Adelaide.
You nailed it on those. I really appreciated those pickups in the pod here.
Hey, it's just trying to make the Pentazone as credible as possible.
So the rest of my points are celebrating Australia. So maybe I can close with those. So what do you have on the women's?
That's all. That was all I had on the women's side.
That was okay, great. Because I'm gonna close with these 2 points then. Actually, I see a round 4 one that if it I should have mentioned it, but if it happens, I'll call it out on TikTok. A really zesty one involving who I think is your pick to win the tournament. Let's call out the Australian women, and let's hope that that these women make runs. Number 1 is Maya Joint. She is now the top-ranked Australian women's player. I am a fan of hers because she has big attitude. She kind of seems like a douchebag. She wears hater shades. She's ground out some tough like 3-setters. She seems mean. I would be scared of her if I was with her in real life. On TV, I'm just a big fan. Just like Jacob Elordi as Frankenstein say. Like that would be scary in real life, but on TV you're happy to see it. So Australia's Maya Joint, the top-ranked Australian woman in the tournament. She could face WTA winner of last year, Elena Rybakina, in the 3rd round, and I would watch out. Nobody's gonna say it except for me on Nice Point Podcast. I would watch out for Joint in that 3rd round.
Good call. Good call.
With the home crowd. And I will end it on, before we do picks, Daria Kasatkina, last year's transfer from Russia to Australia. Her most recent Instagram posted like just 2 days ago. She officially got her citizenship.
Wow.
So she's holding up the papers. Have you ever been to like a citizenship party? It really is a hard process, and people get really psyched when they finish it and they have a party for it.
Right, long process, yeah.
So Kasatkina says officially Australian. She's holding up the papers. She posts on there, Joe, in the caption, happy, grateful, free.
Oh.
Because Daria Kasatkina, part of this departure is she's a gay woman, Joe. And just like the
Right.
character in Heated Rivalry who's from Russia, it's not something you can really be in Russia. And so Russia cannot stop catching strays in tennis and social media, and we love to see it. But we'll be rooting for new citizen and homer Daria Kasatkina in this tournament. I think she has kind of a tough draw, but I'll be rooting for her.
Wow. Okay. Good poll. That's interesting.
That's your 1 and 2 ranked Australian women. I think with joint having a seed, Kasatkina a little bit below, maybe dealt with an injury last year.
Right.
On the men's, number 1 men's Australian player, who do they have to look to?
I think Demonar, I think he's the 6th seed.
Oh, yeah, Damonar's up there. So okay.
Yeah.
Papyrin maybe somewhere
Yeah,
in there.
maybe up there. Yep. Yep.
Okay. Are you going to pick... It's the end of the podcast. Thank you guys for listening. Are you going to pick Jannik Sinner to win?
I am, yeah.
Yeah.
And I think just because Alcaraz has struggled at the Australian Open, like we said, Sinner is the defending champion. He's won the last 2 Australian Opens, knows how to get it done here. Obviously, you think, there's 2 ways to look at that. If Alcaraz struggles here, then you could say, well, then he's due. He's due to play well here, just based on the odds and everything. But I don't know. I'm going with Sinner. Just 1-2 in a row. Alcaraz has never been past the quarters here. Give me Jannik Sinner.
I think Murphy's Law is that, chaos will ensue. Anything that can happen will happen eventually. I don't think it's this tournament. I think Murphy's Law will come into play one of these days, not at the Australian Open 2026. Sinner wins the tournament, and it's a little bit boring. Joe, are you ready to tell me that your pick on the women's side is surprisingly Amanda Anisimova?
I thought that's what you were gonna say. No, that's not who I'm going with.
Okay. We're playing a little we're playing a little game theory here. What do I think? You think? I think. You're gonna say.
Exactly. I do think Anisimova wins the Slam this year. She has not fared very well in Australia though in her career, so I don't think it's here in Melbourne.
Maybe she's one of the partiers.
Could be. I love that. That's just our explanation for anyone that doesn't play well in Australia. Is they must be a partier.
Venus Williams, 45, couldn't make it through round 1. Too many glasses of wine.
Oh, so I'm going with. I feel like this is going to blow your mind. I'm going with Osaka, the 16 seed.
Okay.
Like we mentioned, she gets Iga. Would see her in the 4th round. I like that matchup a lot for Osaka. Like you said, of kind of the top 1 through 8 seeds, I think Osaka matches up with Iga pretty well. So I think she's got a good chance. And if she does win that match against Iga in the 4th round, I think that's a huge confidence boost for her going forward into the quarters. Just the way she finished last season in Canada at the U.S. Open, she was playing super well. I think she's just a great competitor. She's got to be hungry to get back to the top. She's a 2-time champ here in Australia. She's obviously loves playing on hard courts. All 4 of her slams were in Australia or at the U.S. Open, so she's kind of a hardcore player. I'm rolling with Osaka here. I actually put a bet down. I think she was plus 2,200. I put a bet down, so hopefully this pays off. It'll be a big payday.
Oh, I love it. I love this pick. Again, I'm repeating stories on the podcast, but I can tell you the last time that I saw Naomi Osaka on television, she had lost in the very exciting semifinals in the U.S. Open.
Right.
And then she instead of what I think almost any player would do, which is pack your bags and get to the hotel and lick your wounds a little bit and then focus on the future. She was back at the tournament watching the FAA match against Zverev or Jannik Sinner, whoever it was, and just looking intense, just looking so mad, like just letting it sink in how much it matters to her to play good tennis and be there the next day when they're playing again versus sitting in the stands. She was firing herself up.
That's the heart of a
think you might be
champion.
onto something. I really
the-
hope you are.
The ultimate competitor. Yeah. So the Pentazone was obviously pointing to Sabalenka. It's tough to bet against Sabalenka here, but I guess that's exactly what we're doing.
And listen, we're not. The Pentazone isn't flawed because what we probably get is Sabalenka Osaka in the final.
Right. Right. Yeah. We'll see.
Joe, if we get Sabalenka Raducanu, Sabalenka Victoria Mboko, and Sabalenka Osaka, I'd be happy for the start of 2026.
Yeah, that'd be a hell of a tournament. Yeah. Always great matches down in Melbourne. I'm excited. I'll be definitely watching tonight and then the next 2 weeks.
The tennis fundamentals, the serve, the volley, and the smash.
This month we are doing tennis.
What better way to take advantage of the great weather than with a game of tennis?
I've no chance in the match. He's the number one in the world, and I'm playing with the metal hit.